You are not stuck in this season, but claiming it keeps it relevant. Ask me how I know. Because there was a time in my life that if you would have asked me to describe myself, the first thing that would have came out of my mouth is I'm a single mom. And listen, I was proud of it because I was doing such a great job. And it's one of the hardest jobs on the planet, okay? And at the same time, that's not what I wanted to be. And the more that I identified as a single mom, the longer I stayed one. Okay. But listen, it took me way too long before I was able to make that connection. Let me explain. But first, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Letitia, your identity shift coach. Make sure that you subscribe because I make videos like this for you every single day. We have these kind of conversations around here, friend, and it is good. Okay? Good. But let me take you back to my single mom season because it was definitely one of the hardest seasons of my life because being a single mom of two, listen, it was not on my bingo card, okay? It's not what I was trying to do. But when I found myself late 20s getting a divorce with a baby on each hip, there I was, single mom. And I had to do my best to take care of me and my two babies. And it was all on me. And yes, I did have my little village that supported me in all of the loving ways that they could. And, if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to do it with excellence, okay? So I was proud of not only just who I was as a single mom, but I was proud of the life that I had built for my children and I, and being able to support them in every way that they needed to the best of my ability. That's what I was all about during that season. And so naturally, when someone would ask me to describe myself, that was the first thing that came out because that was the most important role and the most important title that I held at that time. But what I did not realize is that for as proud as I was, that identifier was also putting a lot of limitations on my life because truthfully, I didn't want to be a single mom. I wanted to get remarried and have the perfect little family. You know what I mean? And I was a single mom for most of my kids' life. And long story, super short, if you've been around for a while, you've heard me talk about my mom making her transition, and me losing her was by far the most devastating loss that I've ever experienced in my life. And that grief journey shifted so much for me. It changed me in so many ways that even still to this day, I'm still unraveling the ways that it changed me. But one of the things that it really stripped me of was that whole single mom identity because that wasn't what I ultimately wanted. What I ultimately wanted was to be a wife. And after my mom made her transition, and I went on my own self discovery journey to figure out who I was without my mom. And going through all of that, realizing that it really wasn't that I was lost or didn't know who I was. I was just getting to know myself at that particular season of my life. And going through that grief journey, it revealed so many new layers of myself that I had never seen or met before. And I was really getting to know myself as a woman without the most important anchor in my life. And going through all of that, it made me shed some things about myself that just could no longer live and survive in this new normal that I was living. And being a single mom was a part of my past. It was no longer something that I solely identified because I realized God made me a wife. And once I made that declaration, friend, my life changed, okay? The way that I carried myself, the way that I dated, it completely shifted. I was no longer just dating to find me a boyfriend and hope that someday he could be a good husband. No, I stopped dating boyfriend material and I was only dating husband material. And the real big difference was yes, I wanted to be a wife, and I declared that. I owned that. And anyone who felt some type of way about that, that was just me using my discernment to know, okay, that's not husband material. And when I met the man who is now my husband, he wanted to be a husband. And he had just not met his wife yet. And then enter stage me, okay? So there I was, a wife who God made me, who had just not met her husband yet. And then, boom, there's this amazing man who is a husband who just hadn't met his wife. And the rest is history, essentially. But we don't realize how claiming an identity of ourselves is really what paints the picture to the life that we end up living. So, for as long as I was calling myself a single mom, I was. And the moment that I declared God made me a wife and I valued myself as a wife, and used a wife level of discernment, it changed the game completely. And now I'm absolutely living the life of my dreams. So I know that the moment that you declare who you are and you start operating from that space, that's how you make your dreams become your reality. So, the thing to really consider with your identity is you are not your circumstances. And that can be so hard for us to be able to make that distinction between us versus what has happened to us. Because so much of the experiences that we've had, they do shape who we are. But also, the meaning that you give those experiences are truly what shapes your identity. So, what meaning have you given circumstances in your life that you've now made that your identifier? Because that is how you can really tell if the identity that you're claiming is the one that your circumstances have decided for you, or whether or not your identity is a choice that you made because you've already decided what your future will be and that you're going to have it ASAP. If you think about it, think about some of the greats. Muhammad Ali said, I am the greatest, okay? And he was saying that he was the greatest before he had the titles won, okay? If you think about Venus and Serena Williams, when they first started out in their very young tennis career, they already proclaimed they were champions long before the real trophies started showing up. So, friend, what have you been claiming and declaring over your life that does not match the future that you want to be living? So, let's do a little quick identity audit, okay? Because, oh, this is so good, friend. Get out you a piece of paper or your journal, a notebook, even your notes app. Now, I will just say, writing things down in your own handwriting, magic. Okay. So if you can write this down, please do. Okay. But don't let this exercise pass you up just because you don't have a pen and paper. Okay. We're going to do it anyway. Do it with what you have. So finish this sentence. Okay. If I asked you to describe yourself, what would be your first sentence? Would it be like me? I am a single mom? Or did you identify with your career? Or was it the hierarchy that you show up in within your family? What is your very first identifier that you use to describe yourself? Because that right there can tell you if you've been allowing your circumstances, your titles, your roles to dictate to you who you are at an identity level. Okay. And then after you've done that, and let's listen, we can make this fun. Okay. You can do this, write it out 3 times. What would be the first 3 things that you would use to describe yourself? Okay. And then look at those 3 things and circle the one that really describes your circumstances, because I really want to call that out to you. Okay. And then now that you know which one is just summarizing your circumstances, friend, and now ask yourself, does this align with the future I want to create? Because, friend, that right there is really telling you if you have been claiming something that belongs in a closed chapter. Okay. Okay. Now, now that you got that all identified, okay, and let's just say you were like me once upon a time saying, I am a single mom, okay, and if that doesn't align with the future that you want, which at that time I declared I was a wife, that became my new identifier. That is how I thought of myself. And it was in claiming that and owning that way before I had a ring on the finger. Okay, friend? Holding myself in that position, knowing that that is what was true for me, that summarized the life that I wanted to be living. And friend, now is your chance. Okay. Ooh, love that identity audit. Okay, friend. And let me give you a journal prompt to go with it. Okay. Because this is so good. What is the title you keep claiming that belongs to a chapter that closed? Name it, friend, because you cannot move past what you are not willing to notice. Okay. So name it, put a name on that chapter that reflects where you used to be, who you used to be. And now declare who it is that you really want to be. And friend, I want you to tell me that in the comments. Make your declaration below, friend, okay? Because listen, you deserve to identify with the future that you are creating. You deserve the desires of your heart. And it first starts with you aligning with them, with who you are, who you truly are. Who did God, source, universe, whom it is that you believe in, friend? Okay. Insert your belief there. But who were you created to be? You deserve to be that now, even if there's no evidence to prove for it. Your declaration is evidence enough. That is proof enough. Your inner knowing is proof enough. Woo, so good. And if you want to keep exploring your identity, I'll make sure to link the main character energy journal prompts for you down in the description. These are the types of questions that you should really be asking yourself to really help you get to know yourself during this season of your life and really helping you to not just know who you are, but align with the future that you want to be living because it is possible for you, friend. Your desire shows you that. Oh, it's so good. Okay, friend. And listen, to know me is to know I love myself so much, I don't play about me. And if you hang out with me long enough, you will love yourself so much that you won't play about you either. Okay, friend, I will meet you in the comments because you know I'm about to celebrate you and hype you up. And I will see you in the next video tomorrow.